Are you absolutely sure you're not wasting your creatine? You see it everywhere, on social media, in locker rooms, touted by your favorite fitness influencers. It's presented as this almost magical white powder, a guaranteed shortcut to building the physique you've always wanted. You're told to just take a scoop, and you'll unlock new levels of strength and size. So you buy a tub, you start taking it, and you wait for the magic to happen. But what if that magic never comes? What if, despite your best intentions, you're just going through the motions? If you think it's a simple case of scoop, stir, and grow, think again. The hard truth is that the vast majority of people who use creatine are unknowingly sabotaging their own results with a few simple yet critical mistakes. These aren't obscure scientific errors, they're common sense slip-ups that completely undermine the supplement's power. Hey everyone, my name is Glenn, and I'm here to help you navigate the often confusing world of fitness supplements. Today we're putting one of the most popular and effective supplements on the planet under the microscope, creatine. This isn't some fly-by-night fad. Creatine is arguably the most researched sports supplement in history, with hundreds upon hundreds of studies backing its efficacy and safety. It's a cornerstone of athletic performance for a very good reason. And let's be crystal clear, it works. When used correctly, it fundamentally enhances your body's energy systems. It helps you build lean muscle mass, not just by promoting growth, but by volumizing your muscle cells, creating a stronger, fuller look. It directly helps you get stronger. We're talking about tangible increases in your 1-rep max and your ability to move heavier weight for more reps. That extra rep or two you can squeeze out on a tough set? That's the creatine effect in action, pushing you past old plateaus. And it helps you push harder and recover faster, not just in the gym, but in any activity that requires short bursts of power. It improves your overall work capacity, meaning you can handle more volume and intensity in your training sessions, which is the ultimate driver of long-term progress. But here's the crazy part, the disconnect that I see every single day. Despite its proven power, a staggering number of people are taking it completely wrong. They're making fundamental errors in their dosing, their timing, and their daily habits that render the supplement almost useless. Which means they're not just flushing their money down the drain with every scoop, they're flushing their potential gains, their hard work, and their valuable time right down with it. Every workout where your performance could have been 10% better is a missed opportunity. And the most frustrating part? You might be one of them and not even know it. You might think you're doing everything right, following the advice you heard from a friend or read in a forum, but you're missing the key details that make all the difference. It's exactly like buying a high-performance supercar, a marvel of engineering designed for speed and power, and then only ever driving it in first gear. You have all that potential sitting under the hood, but you're never actually letting it loose. You're just sputtering along, wondering why you're not getting the thrilling experience you paid for. I see it all the time. So many people get incredibly frustrated when they use creatine for a month, or even 2, and don't see the dramatic results they were promised. They look in the mirror and see the same reflection. Their lift numbers aren't moving. They feel defeated. So, naturally, they blame the creatine, calling it overhyped or a scam. They blame their genetics, convincing themselves they're a non-responder. Or worst of all, they just give up on it altogether, tossing a nearly full tub in the trash and missing out on one of the most reliable tools for progress. But in 9 out of 10 of these cases, the problem isn't the supplement, and it's not your genetics. The problem is the protocol. You take it. The difference between seeing 0 results and unlocking your full potential comes down to a few key details. Simple, tiny errors in your routine, like inconsistent timing, improper hydration, or choosing the wrong type, can completely sabotage your progress, leaving you stuck, frustrated, and feeling like you've been lied to. But the good news is that these mistakes are incredibly easy to fix once you know what they are. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything. We'll cover the 3 biggest mistakes that are holding you back. We'll dive deep into the science of how it works, the exact dosing strategies for your body, how to stay hydrated for maximum effect, and we'll bust the persistent myths once and for all. By the end of this, you won't just be taking creatine, you'll be using it with precision to finally unlock the results you deserve. Let's get started. Alright, let's dive into the most common creatine mistakes that are holding back your progress. I've seen these trip up so many people, from beginners to even some experienced lifters. But the good news is, they are all incredibly easy to fix once you know what you're doing. So let's start with the biggest and most common mistake I see literally all the time. Inconsistent dosing. This is the person who takes creatine on their workout days, thinking it's giving them an edge for that specific session, but then completely forgets about it on their rest days. They figure, no gym today, no need for creatine, right? Wrong. Or maybe they're diligent for a week. They take it every single day. They feel good. They feel stronger in the gym. Then skip the entire next week because they got busy, went on a short trip, or just didn't feel like it. They fall off the wagon and break the chain of consistency. Essentially, they treat it like a pre-workout supplement. Something you only take when you need an immediate boost of energy or focus for a specific gym session. You feel tired, you take a pre-workout, and boom, you're ready to go. People mistakenly apply this same logic to creatine. This is hands down the fastest way to make sure your creatine does absolutely nothing for you. It's a total waste of your money and your effort. Here's why that's so bad, and to understand it, we need to look at how creatine actually works in your body. Creatine doesn't work instantly. It's not like caffeine where you feel a kick 30 minutes later. Its benefits are cumulative, not acute. See, your muscles use a molecule called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, as their primary source of explosive energy for things like lifting weights or sprinting. This is where creatine comes in. Your body stores supplemental creatine in your muscles as phosphocreatine. This molecule acts like a recycling agent. It rapidly donates its phosphate group back to ADP, quickly regenerating it into ATP. This gives you more fuel for those high-intensity efforts, allowing you to push out an extra rep or two, lift slightly heavier, and recover faster between sets. But for this system to work effectively, your phosphocreatine levels need to be topped off. The whole point of supplementing is to slowly build up these stores in your muscles until they are completely full, or what we call saturated. Only when your muscles are fully saturated with creatine can you reap the full benefits of strength, power, and muscle growth. Think of your muscles like a gas tank for a high-performance car. You must fill that tank all the way to the top for max performance. You can't expect to win a race if you only put a splash of gas in the tank every few days. Sporadic dosing is like putting in just a few tiny drops of gas. You might add a little on Monday with your workout, but your body naturally uses and excretes about 1 to 2% of its creatine stores each day, so by Wednesday, that small amount is already used up or gone. You never even get close to filling the tank, let alone keeping it full. You're perpetually running on empty. So, what's the fix? It's simple. Consistent, daily dosing. You need to take it every single day, whether you're training or not, to first achieve saturation and then to maintain it. There are two main ways to do this. The fastest method is a loading phase. This involves taking a higher dose, typically 20 grams per day, for about 5 to 7 days. You'd split this into 4 5-gram servings throughout the day to maximize absorption and minimize any potential stomach discomfort. This protocol is designed to saturate your muscles as quickly as possible, usually within a week. After that loading week, you drop down to a maintenance dose of 3 to 5 grams per day. This smaller daily dose is all you need to keep your muscle stores topped off and maintain that saturated state. The second option, which is just as effective over the long run, is to skip the loading phase entirely. You can simply start with the maintenance dose of 3 to 5 grams per day from day 1. It will take longer to reach full saturation, typically about 3 to 4 weeks instead of 1, but you'll get to the exact same place. This method is often preferred by people who experience mild stomach issues with the higher doses of a loading phase. The key with either method is the relentless consistency that follows. Pick a time of day that works for you and stick to it. Habit stacking is a great strategy here. Have your creatine with your breakfast every morning. Or put your creatine tub right next to your coffee maker or protein powder so you can't miss it. Set a daily alarm on your phone if you have to. The bottom line is this. Creatine is a commitment. It's not a magic bullet you take for an instant effect. It's a tool that rewards discipline and consistency. Taking it sporadically is like trying to build a brick wall by laying 1 brick a month. You'll never get anywhere. Commit to taking it every single day, and you will unlock the performance benefits you're looking for. Alright, let's tackle the second major mistake people make with creatine, and this one is a biggie. It's all about the dose. Getting the dosage right is absolutely critical, because without the correct amount, you're either wasting your money and risking discomfort, or you're simply not going to see the results you're working so hard for in the gym. It's the key that unlocks creatine's potential. When it comes to dosing, I see people fall into one of two camps, both of which are on opposite ends of the spectrum. It's a classic case of going to extremes, and with supplements, extremes are rarely the answer. On one side, you have the mega dosers. These are the folks who operate on the more is always better philosophy. They think that if a little bit of creatine is good, then a whole lot must be incredible. I've seen people taking 20, even 30 grams a day, well beyond any loading phase, thinking they're fast-tracking their way to superhuman strength. They're essentially trying to brute force the results. On the other extreme, you have the micro-dosers. These individuals are often a bit more cautious, perhaps worried about side effects or unsure of how much to take. So, they'll just add a tiny sprinkle to their drink, maybe 1 or 2 grams, hoping that this little dusting of magic powder will be enough to do the trick. They're being overly conservative, and unfortunately, that approach is just as ineffective. Let me be perfectly clear, both of these approaches are wrong. They represent a fundamental misunderstanding of how creatine works in the body, and both will prevent you from getting the performance-enhancing benefits you're looking for. Let's break down the mega-dosing mistake first. When you take a massive dose of creatine, say 20 grams in one go, your body simply cannot absorb it all. Think of your muscles like a sponge. They have a finite capacity to soak up and store creatine. This is known as the saturation point. Once your muscles are fully saturated, that sponge is full. Any extra creatine you pour on top isn't going to get soaked up. It just spills over. This excess creatine is then processed by your kidneys and flushed out of your system. So, by taking way too much, you're not building more muscle or getting stronger faster. You are literally just paying for expensive urine. Beyond being a complete waste of money, megadosing often leads to some very unpleasant side effects. Creatine is osmotically active, meaning it draws water into your intestines. When you dump a large, unabsorbed amount in there, it can pull in excess water, leading to gastrointestinal distress. We're talking about uncomfortable stomach cramps, bloating that makes you feel sluggish and heavy, and in many cases, diarrhea. None of which is going to help you have a great workout. Now, what about the microdosers? Taking just 1 or 2 grams a day might seem like a safe bet, but it's ineffective for a different reason. This amount is generally not enough to significantly increase your muscles' creatine stores above their natural baseline, especially for most average-sized adults. Your body naturally uses and replenishes a certain amount of creatine daily. A tiny dose might only be enough to cover this basic turnover, but it won't be sufficient to achieve the elevated levels, that muscle saturation we talked about, that are required for noticeable improvements in strength, power, and performance. It's like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon. You'll never get there. So, if both extremes are wrong, what is the right way to dose creatine for maximum results without the waste or side effects? There are 2 primary science-backed methods, and the best one for you depends on how quickly you want to see results. The first method is the loading phase. This is the fastest way to saturate your muscles. It involves taking a higher dose for a short period to quickly fill up your creatine stores. A typical loading protocol is to take 20 grams of creatine per day for about 5 to 7 days. Now, crucially, you don't take this all at once. To avoid the GI issues we discussed, you should split this into 4 5-gram doses spread throughout the day. For example, you could take 5 grams at breakfast, 5 grams at lunch, 5 grams in the afternoon, and 5 grams in the evening. This approach rapidly increases muscle creatine levels, and you can expect to see performance benefits within that first week. After the 5 to 7 day loading phase, your muscles are saturated. You then drop down to a maintenance dose to keep them that way. For most people, this is between 3 to 5 grams per day. This single daily dose is all you need to maintain those elevated creatine stores and continue reaping the benefits. The second method is the simpler, low-dose protocol. This approach skips the loading phase entirely. You simply start by taking the maintenance dose of 3 to 5 grams of creatine every single day from the get-go. This method is just as effective in the long run, but it's slower. It will take about 3 to 4 weeks to fully saturate your muscles and experience the full performance benefits compared to just 1 week with loading. So which one should you choose? It really comes down to personal preference and patience. If you have an upcoming competition or just want to see results as fast as possible, the loading phase is a great option. If you're prone to stomach sensitivity, or you're not in a rush and prefer a simpler, more gradual approach, then starting with a 3 to 5 gram daily dose is perfect. Both paths lead to the same destination, fully saturated muscles. Now you might hear about dosing based on body weight, something like 0.03 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. For a 200-pound or 91-kilo individual, that works out to about 2.7 grams. For a 150-pound or 68-kilo person, it's about 2 grams. While this is technically more precise, the vast majority of research and real-world application has shown that a standard 3 to 5 gram daily dose is effective for almost everyone, regardless of size. It's simple, it's proven, and it removes any complicated math. A standard 5-gram scoop is the gold standard for a reason. It works. So, my advice is to stick with the simple and effective 3 to 5 gram maintenance dose. It's the sweet spot that ensures saturation without any waste. Chapter 3. The third and final mistake is a two-parter, and it's all about ignoring the supporting cast hydration and patience. So many people start taking creatine, but they completely forget to drink enough water, and they expect to look like a superhero overnight. They chug their creatine with a tiny sip of water, then stare in the mirror an hour later, wondering why their biceps haven't grown 2 inches. This mindset completely misunderstands how creatine functions in the body and sets you up for disappointment and even some nasty side effects. Here's the deal. Creatine works by pulling water into your muscle cells. This is part of what helps them grow and perform better. It's a good thing, but if you're not drinking enough water to begin with, your body is going to be dehydrated. Pulling the limited water you have into your muscles can leave the rest of your body high and dry, potentially causing cramps. And there you have it, the 3 biggest mistakes that are probably killing your creatine gains. We covered inconsistent dosing, getting the dosage wrong, forgetting about hydration and patience. It's crazy how these simple things can be the difference between seeing amazing results or feeling like you've wasted your money.